It's October 2023 and I've headed east across the continent to Bulgaria and its stunning capital Sofia in search of its much older predecessor, Serdica. Situated in the valley of the same name, at the foot of the Vitosha Mountains, and at the site of several natural mineral springs, the modern-day city of Sofia sits on over 9,000 years of human habitation, though the recorded history of the city only goes back a measly 2,000 years to the conquest by the Roman Republic of the city of Serdica. With the departure of the Romans, the city was raided by Huns, Visigoths, Avars and Slavs over the following millennium, before Serdica was incorporated into the Bulgarian Empire and became known as Sredets. At the start of the second millennium, the Byzantines took their turn at ruling the Rus for just over 170 years, before a reborn Bulgarian Empire reincorporated the city in 1194. But less than 200 years later, the city was once again on the losing side of the conquest, this time at the hands of the Ottoman Empire, who would stay in control of the city up until its liberation by the Russians in 1878, and Bulgarian rule was temporarily restored. During the Ottoman period, the city became the regional capital of Rumania Eyalet, the empire's key province in Europe. In 1879, the year after its liberation, Sofia was declared the capital of the Third Bulgarian state, a role it's continued to hold through to the modern day. Making the unwise decision to side with the Axis side, Bulgaria declared war on the UK and US in December 1941, and consequently the city came under Allied bombing in late 1943 and early 1944, and shortly afterwards the city and country were occupied by the Red Army. Following the war, the country became the People's Republic of Bulgaria and was firmly in the Soviet sphere of influence. As the wave of revolution swept across the continent in 1989, the country's communist rulers tinkered around the edges to try and preserve their power, but the end was inevitable, and the first multi-party elections since 1939 were held in June 1990, and in November 1990, the country reverted its name back to the Republic of Bulgaria and removed the communist emblems from the flag. The history of Sofia's turbulent last 200 years is clearly on show in the architecture of the city, from grand Soviet palaces of culture to refined Ottoman-era boulevards and 21st century shopping malls, and in the distance the older history of the city in the form of Byzantine Bulgarian Orthodox churches. At the heart of the old town by the central courts is the cathedral church of Sveta Nedelya, portions of which date back to the Byzantine period of the 11th century. Behind the church, the 16th century Banya Bashi Mosque, from the time when the city became an important regional capital of the Ottoman Empire. A short distance from the mosque is the city's synagogue and Catholic cathedrals, proving the melting pot of cultures and religions that this city has been for centuries. At the centre of it all, standing watch over the government ministries and former Communist Party headquarters, the mosques, churches, synagogues and 9,000 years of history, is the statue of Sofia, erected in 2000. The 8-metre-high statue atop a 16-metre-high column at the most important junction in the city centre. And yes, it did replace the statue of Lenin. The major multi-lane highways that crisscross the city centre at this point are most safely crossed by heading down into the underpass, which also houses a metro station, the 1,000-year-old church of St. Petra of the Saddlers, and the ruins of the ancient city of Serdica. It's certainly one up on the urine-soaked underpasses of the UK. The exposed archaeology covers just a part of the Roman city of Serdica and is divided into two key sections. Undercover, underneath Nezavisimost Square, are remains of one of the two main streets of the city, the Decumanus Maximus, which connected the eastern and western gates of the city, along with the remains of a large residential building that covered an entire insula or urban block and included small shops on the ground floor. You can even walk over the same flagstones that Roman visitors would have walked over 2,000 years earlier as you reach the eastern gate of the ancient city. The other side of St Petka Church is the largest part of the complex, covering 6 streets and 2 early Christian basilicas. Part of the complex is outside and can be wandered around freely, with the more delicate parts of the site inside a museum and undercover to protect the intricate mosaic floors and even the remnants of the lead plumbing pipes. The edge of the site includes one of the earliest Christian temples in the region, the Episcopal Basilica of Protogenes, likely the location where the Council of Serdica convened in 343, which rather than fixing things between the eastern and western arms of the Christian Church, in part led to the first major schism that separated the Eastern Orthodox Church from the Western Catholic Church. A short distance from the main archaeological site of Serdica sits another small set of remains that today own the courtyard of the palace of the President of the Republic, overlooked by the Rotunda Church of St George. Originally built around the same time as the Council of Serdica as a 4th century Roman baths, it eventually was converted to a church inside the walls of the city, and today the building looks over the remnants of a former Roman street, complete with a sewage system, a building equipped with a hypocaust heating system, and, at the rear of the site, the ruins of a large 3-nave basilica. Leaping forward nearly 1,500 years and very firmly into the Bulgarian Orthodox side of that schism, one of the symbols of the city is the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, located at one of the highest points in the centre of the city. Planning for the cathedral started almost as soon as the Third Bulgarian state had declared Sofia its capital in 1879, and building work commenced with the laying of the foundation stone on the 3rd of March 1882. Though with slow progress initially, most of the work was completed in an 8-year period from 1904 to 1912. At 3,170 square metres and capable of holding 5,000 people inside, the cathedral is one of the 50 largest Christian church buildings by volume in the world. It also ranks the top 10 largest Eastern Orthodox church buildings, the largest cathedral in the Balkans, and up until the year 2000 was the largest finished Orthodox cathedral in the world. The cathedral was created in honour of the Russian soldiers who died during the Russo-Turkish War of 1877 to 1878, which resulted in Bulgaria's liberation from Ottoman rule, St. Alexander Nevsky being a Russian prince. Between 1916 and 1920, the cathedral was briefly renamed for St. Cyril and Methodius, as Bulgaria, not for the last time, opted to side with the Germans during a major European war. The two saints were brothers, though Cyril gets more credit these days, as the Cyrillic alphabet that he created and bears his name is a script of choice of many Slavic languages, including modern Bulgarian. The cathedral was finally consecrated on the 12th of September 1924 and in 1955 was declared a cultural monument. In contrast to many other Orthodox cathedrals, the church does allow you, for a small fee, to take photos of the inside. Next time, I travel beyond Sofia to explore more of Bulgaria, visiting Rila Monastery, taking in Plovdiv, possibly Europe's longest continuously inhabited city, and climbing into the ruins of Arsen's fortress.